Which way are we going?
Good afternoon. My name is Tony Lee, and I'm a senior at NC State University. And I'm going to be doing a podcast this evening about book banning and censorship. And I have with me some friends from NC State, and they're going to introduce themselves at this time.
Hi, I'm Courtney, and I'm a junior at NC State. I'm studying graphic design.
Hi, I'm Emily. I recently graduated from NC State. I study nutrition, and I work part-time at a community library.
And I'm Marissa. I'm a senior at NC State, majoring in secondary English education with a minor in philosophy.
Okay, thank you all. So, to get us started, I want to ask you all, what do you know about censorship?
I know it's mostly the parents that are like the people who want books censored.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not actually like teachers.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know anything else? I think that's about all I remember.
I think of censorship, and I just think of like anything that someone wants like hidden from other viewers. So I guess you can censor for yourself, but I mostly think of other people controlling the content you see.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Emily, you have any thoughts?
Oh, I was going to say, I think that censorship is mostly in schools, just because, parents want to protect children from anything they don't want them to see.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, all of those are right, and, when I think about censorship, I mainly think of books and TV, because, on TV, they bleep out certain words, or they blur certain body parts,
Mm-hmm.
And I found this video on YouTube, and I do not own this video. It belongs to WatchMojo.com.
Ready?
And it is a video called Top 10 Books That Have Been Banned, and it has a lot of interesting things, so I want to play a few of those for you, and we'll talk about that.
Mary Magdalene, not Peter. The church was supposed to be carried on by a woman. Do you realize that Mary was descended from...
Or for how long? If it was ever taken off the shelves, then it can be featured on today's reading list. Number 10. Lord of the Flies, William Golding.
Whoever holds the conch gets to speak. That's the rule.
Is this like assembly, sir?
Yeah. Except anybody who wants to speak gets to.
Commonly described as one of the greatest novels of the 20th century, Lord of the Flies is also one of the most brutal depictions of human character ever written.
We would have given you...
So, number 10 is obviously Lord of the Flies. I'm not going to play the whole video. I remember reading Lord of the Flies in high school, but it was for fun because it wasn't taught at my school. Did y'all ever read Lord of the Flies?
I did. It's in high school.
You did?
Like, not for fun. It was actually like a book we read in class.
Is there any...
My school did never read it. No.
We watched a movie.
Close enough.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think Lord of the Flies is banned mainly because of the killing that the little boys participate in. And so there are a lot of reasons why books are banned. But what do y'all think the top 3 reasons why books are banned are?
Sexual content.
Sexual content?
Mm-hmm. My first thought would be religious or political agendas.
Yeah.
I'm also gonna say explicit language, like in Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah. So I don't know if y'all have read Catcher in the Rye, but it's we had to read it for a class in the spring, and it has a lot of bad language in it, so to speak. There's a lot of GDs in it, and a lot of other cursing. And so I know that is a very frequently challenged book because of the language, especially in the Bible Belt where, there's a lot of Christianity and stuff.
I think violence, too, was also another reason, like, with Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
That was my first thought also, though. Then I was like,
yeah.
Specifically, I feel like violence and sexual content and all that has to do with religious and moral beliefs.
Sure.
Yeah, so I pulled up this website, and it's called 11 Infographics About Banned Books, and it has a lot of lists of different books that are banned, and some of these I've never heard of. Others I'm pretty surprised about. One of the books is the Bible, and the reason was in 1234, King James I of Aragon ordered the burning of Bibles that were written in the vernacular. So, which is kind of surprising. I feel like
though Bibles are not officially banned, but teachers that openly read the Bible to students could very well lose their jobs.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I think I would consider it banned but unsaid.
Yeah. Oh, here's one. It's called And Tango Makes Three. It's a children's book that was published in 2005, and it's supposedly a true story about two gay penguins that hatch an egg in New York Central Zoo. And obviously the reason is that it challenges conservative views of adoption and same-sex marriage. And it says that it's been banned and challenged throughout schools in North Carolina, Illinois, Virginia, California. So, what do y'all think about that?
Personally, I feel like the book had an agenda in the first place. I feel like clearly that book was written to, like, warm children up to the idea of same-sex couples because, like, animals don't really have, like, sexuality and conventional relationships like people do, so I think it was just, like, a tool to do that anyway. I don't know necessarily banned or not, like, because that's individual opinions, but clearly the book had an agenda. It wasn't just talking about two penguins.
Yeah.
I find it odd it was banned in California. Such a liberal state.
Yeah,
that should have been one of the states where they were like, totally, go for it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, I feel like some books it's kind of like weird reasons, I don't know. I feel like obviously it depends on the nation too. Obviously we're not going to read a book in America that puts down America and its values of freedom and liberty for everyone. Versus this book that I read in 10th grade, it was called Things Fall Apart. I'm sure a lot of students read that, and apparently it was banned or tried to be banned in Malaysia in 2006 because it was critical of colonialism, which is really interesting because when I've been taught about colonialism, it's always been in a negative context. And I think part of that is because, we're in a country that did start out as a major colony of 3 different nations, probably more. I'm a little rusty. But I don't know. It's interesting to see some of these books when they were taught in school to me, or, I read them for fun and there was never an issue at home or something. So I want to change gears for a second. We kind of answered why the top 3 reasons for banning books is, and we talked about that, but I want to ask y'all, what do you know about, I guess, the history of it, when it started, when it really picked up here.
History of censorship?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember. I want to say it was like, I might be way off. Wasn't it in like the 70s or 80s when it really started to pick up a lot?
Yeah, so when President Ronald Reagan became president in the 80s, he was a very conservative president, and things really took up. And in the 80s, there was a court case, and it was Hazelwood versus Kohlmeyer, and it was kind of about like free speech, and these students wanted to print something in the school newspaper, and they weren't allowed, and they ended up losing the court case. They were claiming about it supported freedom of speech, but the school said that they couldn't necessarily do it because it was a school newspaper, so it was like a group thing.
Do you know what it was that they were trying to print?
I'm trying to pull it up, but it's not loading.
I mean, my first thought about banning like student publications, I would think it depends on the situation, because like some students, like, is it like really like intelligent article, like did you look into it well, are you trying to make a point, or are you trying to stir up trouble? Like, did you do all your research, you know? Is it going to disrupt your learning environment? Because honestly, like,
what if it's just a controversial topic?
Yeah.
But they've done all their research.
So
I mean, that's
basically there were 2 articles that were submitted for publication, and they were on divorce and teenage pregnancy. And so the divorce article featured a story about a girl who blamed her father's actions for her parents' divorce. And then the teenage pregnancy article featured stories in which pregnant students at this school, Hazelwood East, shared their experiences. Now, the girls that were pregnant, their names were changed, but the school principal felt that the subjects of these 2 articles were inappropriate. And so, because there was no time to edit the paper, entire pages of the paper were eliminated. So the students brought the suit to the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Missouri, alleging that their First Amendment rights to freedom of speech had been violated. U.S. District Court concluded that they were not. The students appealed to the U.S. Court of Appeals, and they appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruling that the principle prohibiting the publishing of certain articles did not violate their freedom of speech right. So, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean,
about the decision?
Well, the whole thing.
I mean, I was just thinking, like, it was a different time in general. I mean, I know my mom said when she was in high school, like, you did not see pregnant girls. They left when they were pregnant, and they didn't come back until they didn't have a baby up anymore, or they just dropped out of school in general.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, so it was a completely different time then. Whereas now, you see, like, girls walking around school all stages of pregnancy.
Yeah. Well, I saw pregnant girls when I was in middle school.
Oh, yeah, same.
8th grade, you know?
Yeah, so.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you do have to take in the time consideration, but I don't know, I feel like now it probably wouldn't be an issue now.
No.
Especially not the teenage pregnancy one.
I agree.
What do y'all think?
Right, I think there's this, like, people are more accepting and, you know, wanting to see people do their best and get the help, and there's not this, there's still a negative stigma with, you know, associated with being a teenage, you know, pregnant girl in school, but I think people are more, you know, wanting to see them not drop out of school.
Right.
And, you know, do the best they can in that situation.
I have to admit, though, I'm kind of considering that it may have been good because, like, I mean, even now, like, it's become so common that, like, it's almost becoming so normalized that they're we're kind of getting away from the negative stigma that it's like normal now, and it's almost not encouraged, but like
accepted.
Yeah, like I mean, not to say that it's bad to like bully the girls or like they should definitely stay in school, but I don't know how exactly.
I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
that the students. I don't think it should have been censored
Yeah.
from the newspaper. It's happening. It's obviously happening in their school.
Yeah.
So what is putting it in the newspaper going to do? Like,
Yeah, and they
you're
did.
going to censor that, but
And
what are you going to
I
do
feel
with the
like-
kids that are actually pregnant?
I guess they figured that by changing the names of the girls that it was better, but at the same time, it was the 80s. If you were pregnant in high school, I'm sure the whole school knew it. So, I don't know.
I was kind of wondering the same thing too. If they changed their names, I'm like, how many pregnant girls are in the school?
In the 80s,
so, like,
yeah.
Did they just leave school and that they technically were attending, but weren't currently going to school, so that people wouldn't know? I don't know.
So it's like they were kind of